Good evening, fellow viewers. This is Science Matters. My fellow lawyer scientific viewers, today you're in for a special show. A scientific time is ahead of you. Prepare yourselves.
Did you ever wonder how identical twins are identical? Identical twins start out from a single fertilized egg cell. During the formation of the baby, the egg splits and develops into two babies with the same gene.
Whoa, Michelle, this is too boring. I can't. Let me do the talking, please. So, she's going to do the scientific boring stuff and I'm going to explain briefly. Identical twins are just embryos that separate before they are born and they have the same DNA, face, etc. They look exactly the same.
So back to the point, why do you think I was talking about identical
Let
twins?
me tell you. My current neighbor Craig has an identical twin called Mark. He's married Diane a few months ago and they're having a kid. And no, you're probably thinking this is a normal story, but no, here's the twist. Diane also has an identical twin called Darlene. Here goes another plot twist. Mark also married Darlene and they're having a kid. I know, how cool is this? Well, after Craig told me the exciting news about his kid, I wondered, if two sets of identical twins get married and each couple has a kid, could their resulting children be identical?
Of course not.
How do you know? Like if you see, the twins have the same DNA, so both couples will pass the same genetic information to their children, making them identical.
No, Cristobal. If two identical twins get married and each have a child, the resulting children will not be identical because of mutation, crossing over, and non-Mendelian inheritance.
Well, I am not an expert in science, but you know who is? Dr. Chang! Everybody raise your hand for Dr. Chang!
I'm Dr. Chang and I will explain why mutations will make the children different. First of all, what are mutations? Mutations are a change in genetic material. To be more specific, a change in nucleic acids. Both RNA and DNA are examples of nucleic acids. So, DNA is made up of bases. The base adenine has to go with the base thymine and the base cytosine has to go with the base guanine. However, due to mutations, the DNA changes. And there are three types of gene mutations. First, substitution, which is that one base is matched wrongly. Second, we have deletion, and in deletion, one base is deleted. And the third, insertion, when one base is added. Twins Craig, Mark, Darlene, and Diane will have the same DNA as embryos. However, due to mutation, they will have few mistakes in the DNA that will mark them each unique. So, the DNA gets passed on to the children. So, if Craig, Mark, and Diane, and Darlene pass their DNA to the children will be different. So, although two sets of identical twins get married and each couple has a child, the children will not be the same.
Thanks, Dr. Chang. Now, what did you say was the second reason why the children could not be identical?
Crossing over. Now we will have Dr. Busto to explain about.
Hey, Science Matters! I'm going to explain crossing over. Crossing over is a process in meiosis that increases genetic variation in offspring. Just like its name, crossing over is the process that chromosomes pair up and cross over and exchange genetic information. Let me explain that a little more. There is one chromosome from the mom and one from the dad. The homologous pairs move close together and exchange genetic information. After the genetic information has exchanged, we have these two chromosomes that share information from each parent. In humans, there is an average of 2 or 3 crossovers for each pair of homologous chromosomes. But let me tell you, each of the 23 pairs of chromosomes can line up in different ways, producing 8 million different combinations. And when fertilization occurs, 70 trillion different zygotes are possible. Let's think logically. It's not likely, or rather said impossible, that the chromosomes of Craig and Diane cross over exactly the same way as the chromosomes of Mark and Darlene. Both couples can produce the same 8 million different combinations and have 70 trillion zygotes. Because of this, if two sets of identical twins get married and each couple has a child, the resulting children will not be identical. That's all for today.
Thanks, Dr. Busto. Now we will have Dr. Chan explain non-Mendelian traits.
Hi, I'm Dr. Cheng, and now I will explain why non-Mendelian inheritance will make the children different. So, non-Mendelian inheritance is rule breakers because they do not follow the Mendelian law, which states that the dominant trait will always show up. So, there are 4 types of non-Mendelian inheritance: incomplete dominance, codominance, polygenic traits, and epistasis. So the first one is incomplete dominance. This means that the dominant allele is not fully expressed with the recessive allele. So one allele is not dominant over the other. So let's make an example. Imagine that Craig and Mark have straight hair, and Diane and Darlene have curly hair. Craig and Diane marry and they have a child, but the child will have wavy hair. Why? Because Craig has straight hair, which is a dominant allele, and Diane has curly hair, which is also a dominant allele. So both won't be expressed, but one in between, which is why they will have wavy hair. However, Mark and Darlene might have a child that has only curly hair or only straight hair, which is why the children might be different. The second one is codominance. In codominance, the alleles work together and both traits show up. So let's make an example. Craig and Mark have blue eyes, and Diane and Darlene have green eyes. So if Craig and Diane marry, the children might have one eye that is blue and one that is green because both alleles work together and both traits show up. However, Mark and Darlene might have a child that has only green eyes or only blue eyes. So that is another way the children might vary. One is polygenic traits. These are traits that are expressed by many genes, not only one. So this is an example: height and skin color. Instead of determining the height by one allele that is tall and one that is small, it is determined by a lot of them. So this is really varied. So the first example is epistasis. In epistasis, one gene depends on another gene to be expressed. So there's an example: brown hair. In order to be expressed, it depends on the CC, which is another gene. So if the gene of the C is dominant and capital letter, then the brown hair will be expressed. However, if it's recessive and it has lowercase letters, then it won't be expressed and the baby might be an albino. So because of this, the children might vary. So as a conclusion, the Mendelian inheritance will make the children different.
Well, we owe a special thanks to Dr. Busto and Dr. Chang for explaining us the reasons why the twins could not be identical. Now, thank you for the segment of today.
Thanks, that's all.